and precision. If you don't know, you better find out the Dad Pack are here to prove a point. We three kings just believe that you don't want to tussle with them. This show is thunder. Subscribe and tune in, and you're laughing to the very end. Don't turn your back on the Dad Pack. Don't turn your back on the Dad Pack.
Put the kids to bed. Dad's home. We are the DWO podcast, representing the dad world order. I am the handsome head of household, Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. And with me, as always, the rest of this patriarch pack. We got the big bad bearded daddy. He is Big Rig Eric Maffey.
Honk if you hear me, baby. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. And he is the perpetual mid-carder and the two-time world record holder. He is the wrestling t-shirt guy, Cephas.
Boys, I came to piss the internet wrestling community off today because I'm rocking an AEW Ricochet shirt, and he's pretty much the most hated thing in wrestling. It's day 1222.
All right.
Hell yeah, brother. It kind of cracks me up how much people hate him. And I know it's partially him in general, but like also just because he's married to Samantha and everybody hates him for it. Like, brother's winning. That's all I got to say.
He's winning at life. He's got a pretty contract, you know. Speaking of people winning at life, though, Big Rig, introduce everybody to our guest tonight.
I sure will. Well, as Mr. Magnificent said, we are the DWO podcast, and tonight we have with us a very special guest. He is the hometown lawyer, Mr. Josh Hodges. Sir, how the heck are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy to be here. Been running around. I was in Atlanta this morning. Now I'm back in a beautiful Hamilton, my hometown. Feels good to be home, even though we had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, speaking of Hamilton, dude, I tell you what, I like that you're one of the people that are a huge proponent of how great Hamilton is. Growing up, so many people always talked about how they wanted to leave Hamilton, and it was so many things were wrong with Hamilton. Man, we have one of the coolest downtowns. We have a nice amphitheater. They're building the Spooky Nook up real nice. There's good places to eat. I mean, Hamilton's great, man. It really is.
Yeah, it's really come up a lot since we were kids. You know, I was a kid. I probably wasn't as positive about it as I am now, but, you know, I think just the town's changed a lot. And I think as you get older, you kind of, when you're a kid, you know, what's, you know, you're used to is kind of sometimes you want to get away from, just rebel or whatever. But I think as you get older, you kind of realize sometimes what you got's pretty good too. So I think it's a little bit of that, but definitely town's on the way up, and a lot of people believe in town. I like it. It's doing good, and but you don't have to be fancy. Here's the thing I like. You know, I'm a lawyer, but I don't have to suit up every day. I think people almost prefer I don't. So if I was in Boston or somewhere like that, I think I'd have to maybe suit up more than I do here. And I kind of like, I like Hamilton.
Just a nice, like, middle class, like, you know, down to earth people. From my vibe of it, you know, I mean, from an outsider's perspective, I guess. There's a few towns in Kentucky it reminds me of for sure. It feels like there's like some sort of kinship though, like people from that area. You know what I mean? Like there's some sort of like unspoken bond between people from the Hamilton Fairfield area.
I think a lot of people's problems with it is the same problem that we all have at some point, where you just realize that you're about to be an adult, or you are an adult, and you just get to this point where you're like, I need something different. And no matter how great as something you have in front of you is, you need that change. And I think that's what a lot of people's problem with it is, because I've had a few people before, you know, go through that bout of depression. They're like, oh, I just need to get out of this city. And I'm supporting them mentally, but inside my head, I'm like, oh, I did that too, bro. You're going to come back. You're going to come back. Unless you find something great, you're going to come back. I don't know. I like it here. Had a lot of good times here. So, Josh, we are second cousins. Is that because your grandpa and my grandpa were brothers, right?
Yeah. Your grandpa he's my favorite great uncle. I mean, he lived up in Hamilton. A lot of my great uncles were always in Kentucky. I'd see them in the summer. But your grandpa, I know he lived in Kentucky some toward the end, but he lived up in Hamilton when I was a kid. He used to. My grandpa died when I was pretty young, but your grandpa lived longer. So, and he was my grandpa's little brother. And so he reminded me of him. They look a little bit alike. He'd come pick us up and go, you know, we'd go pick tomatoes at his garden or whatever. And he talked a lot of smack, you know, like, I mean, told a lot of stories that were half true, but yeah, he's just funny to be around. You kind of have to, you know, people down there just love, you got to know him to really appreciate it. But yeah, Uncle Lowell, I mean, I used to go see him at his house. He'd catch his beard on fire just to make us scream. We're little kids, like, who does that?
He was that uncle.
Yeah.
He was that papaw too, dog. He was like, you know what I'm saying? I think my uncle and my mom and my aunt kind of a little jealous of how he treated me and some of the grandkids, because it's just like I don't know, he didn't have to discipline us as much. We were his buddies, you know?
Yeah, he's funny. Yeah, he's a funny old dude. So whatever grandpas or brothers, I don't know if that's second cousins or third cousins, something like that.
It's crazy, man. I think the last time I physically saw you, short of maybe like in passing in downtown Hamilton, I think once during a concert.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
The time I saw you, we were teenagers.
Yeah, man, I don't even know how long it's been. I mean, life moves by fast. I mean, seems like my whole 20s and now I guess all of my 30s and I'm in my 40s now, just kind of put my head down, went to school out and worked a lot before I know it. You know, I'm not a kid no more, not even close. And there's people I ain't seen 10 years that I probably should have.
Yeah, it gets hard, man. That's something we think we struggle with as dads ourselves too, is trying to find time for everything. You know, I just told you before we started here, I worked a 14-hour shift, but I've also got a grandma that needs me to come visit. I've got cousins and aunts and uncles. I mean, your grandpa and my grandpa were siblings that there were 13 total children, I think.
Yeah.
Holy
That
shnikes.
shows how big our family really is. It sucks, man. I feel like I don't get to see people as much. But, you know, I also try to go out of my way. We're going to go see Dirk Bentley and Zach Top in Riverbend, which, by the way, open invite to you guys as well. You should get lawn tickets and come. We're going to try to get as many of the family as we can to just get together and hang out for some reason.
You're breaking up, so we can't hear you.
Am I breaking up?
No, you're good now.
My bad.
At least I couldn't hear you. That might have just been me. But man, you ain't wrong on that. I've kind of been feeling that way lately, just with how busy our life is, especially with me and Danny together now, and both the girls got stuff going on, and then we're trying to, hang out with my family and make time for friends and stuff. And I just think about like good friends of mine that I haven't seen in, 6 months to a year, if not longer. And I'm just like, damn,
Happens so quick, dude.
Time gets away from you,
I think that's when you find out who's your real friends, though, because
for sure. Yeah.
like there's a million guys of mine that if I don't see them for a year and a half, the second I see them, it's like we're continuing the same conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was telling Danny about that today because she was asking when she was going to meet a good buddy of mine, Ryan. Talk about him a lot, and he's like my best friend growing up, known each other since third grade type thing. I probably haven't talked to him in 7-8 months, something like that. But he's the kind of guy that we get together. It's like there's no lost time there ever. It's pretty awesome.
Getting messages from people saying they're having trouble commenting for some reason. I don't know what's going on there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
So let's talk about how you got hooked up with TikTok. Do you blame that on your wife? Because I know there's some of them videos. Her cooking is the star of the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Is she why you got into it, or?
Yeah, I mean, she was definitely on it before me during the lockdown. She was on it, and I like most guys, I just looked at like, it's kids dance around, just not something I'm not going to be dancing around. That's what everyone kind of thought it was at first. During lockdown, there was nothing to do. So I did start watching hers a little bit. And then I realized that, it was starting, the algorithm was feeding me things I was interested in pretty quick. And Facebook and other ones were not like that. Facebook gave you stuff depending on who you were connected to, and TikTok gave you stuff you're interested in. We didn't really know that at the time, but I was getting stuff about business. I was getting stuff from, investing or lawyers, real estate, whatever, like stuff that a 40-year-old guy would want to watch or whatever. And So I was like, there's some smart people on here. So I was like, I need to probably get on here. So I started doing some videos, didn't know what the heck I was doing. My son, he was, he's 18 now. So he was probably 14 at the time or 13. He bet me that I couldn't get 100,000 followers. And I had like 800 followers at the time. So I kind of like took that as a challenge to keep going. And then we did some videos. I did some restaurant videos that did pretty good. And then we did some videos with her cooking that did pretty good. And within that first 6 months, I had like 30 or 40,000 pretty quick because I was one of the first lawyers on it. So anyone interested in law or local food, and I kind of had a good head start. So I got the 50 grand pretty quick. I'm up to like 80 something now. The last 30 has been harder, but he was getting a little worried. He's like, man, you got a long way to go. But now he kind of gives me props. He's like, you did a lot better than I ever thought you would. And I'll get there eventually as long as they don't ban it. I think I'm about 83 almost. I think.
What's the bet?
He would just do one with me. He wouldn't do a TikTok. He said if he gets to 100, he'll be in a TikTok with his dad.
Okay.
Maybe do
That's
some
fair.
kind of just. But the funniest thing is like a lot of his buddies at school follow me pretty much just to give him shit. So like they'll hear a video and they're all like, they always comment on it. A lot of times they'll be like, man, if your son could just be as smart as you are, Mr. Hodges, and like just kiss ass just to piss him off. But yeah, it's actually been fun. It kind of, we were just trying to figure out what works. Then it kind of over the years became something me and my wife kind of do. She stays at home. Our daughter had a lot of health problems, so she had to quit her job. So she's stuck at home all the time. So we come home, we do those little videos. It's like something me and her do together to like see if we can succeed at something, and it's kind of helped my law firm a lot too. Definitely get your name out there. It's helped me. People have definitely hired me off of there. They kind of trust you. They watch you every day. They get to know you a little bit as long as you're being kind of real. And I've found 3 employees off of TikTok that are like good. It's hard to find workers. I find some young people want to work. They found me through there. So, and not just, that's just any social media. I think it's, as you guys are doing, it's a way that you can reach a lot of people and get a voice, that you wouldn't have been able to do 20, 30 years ago. You'd have had to get on, ABC News. That's tough. There's gatekeepers there. Now you can go straight to the source. And if you're creative, I try to be positive. Mine is always pretty much try to be out there kind of, so I don't get political. I don't get like, hating on anyone. I just try to like, highlight things that anyone could support, like, a nonprofit helping kids or a local restaurant, whatever it is, stuff like that. And talk a little bit about what I'm doing. Just let people know, like a lot of people hate on attorneys, think they're going to be scary or we're going to be jerks or we're going to think we're better than them. And that's not usually the case. Most attorneys I know are all right people, got a tough job, kind of get a worse rap than we deserve. Sure. But I think it's on us to kind of be out there and show people we are normal. So I just try to be real approachable in mine. That's why I think the videos of me and my wife kind of do good because it's just we got a good banter. We've been together since we're 18, so I think people can see that.
Yeah. People can see the human side of you.
It's something cool that you guys can share together. I know my wife would love it if we did something like that together. I just haven't come with that kind of content yet. But as long as you guys are having fun, man, it's and it's hard to find things to do, once you get, on in years of marriage, other than sitting around and finding a movie or television show to watch or, sitting staring at.
Congratulations to 18 years, Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, we just celebrated 18 years last year or yesterday.
That's a accomplishment. Whenever I meet somebody that's got 10 or more years in a relationship, I'm like, oh, they understand, because it's not, Josh, I'm sure you can speak on this too. When you're this far in a relationship, it takes work, regardless of how lustful you are for your wife or whatever it is. There's still work that's needed to make a relationship past 10 years. And when you get to that point, it's almost like an appreciation that you develop. It's a different level of love. I swear it is.
Yeah. No, I agree. We met when we were 18. I was just kind of a loser, didn't have any money, didn't really have a bunch of prospects. I make her, I could say funny stuff, and I think I had a good heart always, but I didn't have like, no way anyone look at me at 18, think I was going to be an attorney. Not that that's that big a deal or own a law firm or anything like that. And let alone, I didn't think I'd get through college, and I didn't until I was 20. I didn't get through regular undergrad college till I was 29. So 11 years after she met me, I didn't become an attorney till I was 32. So she was with me for 14 years, all through all that, and then supported me all the way since, 10 more years of being an attorney through a lot of ups and downs. And I just couldn't ever meet anyone that's been through all that with me. So, it'd just be kind of impossible at this point,
Bro, the fact that you followed through at that age though, and and continue that, because that had to take some hella motivation, man. Because I went to trade school at 25, and I mean I took it very seriously when I went back, because at that point in my life I was motivated, I was focused, what I didn't have at 18, you know.
Yeah.
And I often say, it's like, oh, I wish I would have started this sooner. But at 18 years old, I never would have done the same thing that I did with it at 25.
Yeah, I mean, it was a grind. I mean, it just took me a long time. I was just taking night classes here and there for, from basically the time I was 18 until I was in my 30s. And then I did quit my job to go to law school full time. That was in Kentucky. So I was driving from Hamilton to Kentucky. I mean, it was a grind. I mean, I wanted to quit a bunch of times there. I just kept pushing. Maybe not the best student ever, but I definitely never kind of gave up. And Heather, she was always, there cheering me on. And I kind of we gained momentum as we went, By the time I was in law school, I was a pretty good student. I was real dedicated to it, but earlier on I was not. But I mean, I didn't do good in high school or anything like that. I kind of, I dug myself a pretty good hole. And I didn't have much money going through. So it's, it's tough to put yourself through college. It's no easy feat. And that's why I just went slow. I just worked full time. I took a class or two here and there. I never really thought I'd get done. I was just doing it because my work was paying for part of it. And I was like, well, I didn't want to throw money away. They're paying for something. I better do something. I just felt like I should. But before I know it, I had a bunch of credits. I was like, man, shit, I'm actually maybe graduate one of these days. And then you start believing, you kind of gained a little more confidence in school, than I did when I was younger. Yeah. This ain't that cool, like, I don't know. We're talking about our grandpas. Like our grandpas weren't all about going to school, man. This is not the culture we came from. It's kind of like, toughen up, go to work,
That's why I'm so proud of us, man. I mean, not that we came from a bad upbringing, because we didn't. We had our ups and downs with issues here and there, but both of us, but we came from good stock. You know what I mean? We were hardworking men. You know what I mean? All we had to do is just prove it. And it took me a while to grow up. I don't think I've considered myself even remotely adult till 26. I think, kind of being thrust into the adult life like I was is kind of a good thing. And when I was younger, I hated it. I was like, oh, I feel like I was by myself, figuring out everything by myself. Luckily, I had a few cool people like my uncle right here, your cousin, Lowell Jr. here. He's been a real help for me throughout the years. You know what I mean? But I feel like it, if you're proof and I'm proof that if you work hard, you can do whatever the heck you want,
Yeah, and you kind of momentum, and start. It's not all going to be at once. Is like, I didn't own a law firm. I got 24 people working for me, a pretty good sized little law firm. That didn't happen overnight. It started out just at Miami Hamilton, like learning how to write a paper enough to turn in and not get a D. Like I get a B on one, like then I could get an A on just a little paper just to get through a class, and then I wrote a good enough paper to maybe go in law school, but I still couldn't have managed 10 or 20 people then. But like before you know it, if you just, little baby steps before I know it now, like some of the stuff that would stress me out 10 or 20 years ago, that's nothing. It's just like it's any job. I mean, like you're saying, you're an electrician. It's like the first time you start messing with it, you're probably nervous. Now it's like you see some other kid mess with it. It's kind of funny to watch them struggle with it because it's like, it ain't that hard. It's in their head a lot of times. Yep, it's the same with attorneys. Like I got young attorneys working for me now, and I can see that when they first start out, they're nervous to call a client. They're nervous if the client's a little pissed at them. They don't know what to do, and it's just like I know they're going to learn it. So it's kind of a progress in life. If you keep pushing, you'll get better. There's definitely people who don't push themselves, and you can stagnate or even probably get worse with time. But if you're actually, getting up and give a solid effort every day, try to improve. You should. I feel like I have.
These two guys here, they're both electricians as well. And I guarantee you that I can speak for them when they've shown people their work in the past and people are like, how do you do that? I don't understand how you could do that. It's all it takes is step by step. You got to get out of the bed first. That's the first part.
Dude, I literally was thinking that to myself just the past couple days because I actually just got back into being a full-blown electrician. I kind of, for about 10 years, I was in industrial maintenance, still doing electrical, but, more like manufacturing. But now I just joined the union. So I'm back to just doing straight up, construction, electric and everything like that. And I was just doing conduit runs today. And I'm like, man, I haven't done this in, 12 years or whatever. I'm like, I don't remember how to do this. Man, give me 2 hours and I'm just like, oh yeah, That's how you do this. You know what I mean? And I noticed too, as I'm doing the work, I'm like, hey, all that industrial maintenance stuff along the way, that's helping me right now because I'm thinking, I'm looking at things differently. You know what I mean? That helped me with like problem solving and stuff like that. Because on a construction site, not everything's cut and dry. You could be like, oh, you need to run this right here. Well, you get up there and it's like, well, that's not what it looks like on the print. You got to figure it out.
The plumber ran right through here.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that has helped me. You know, I kind of took a roundabout way getting back to being a full-time electrician, but I wouldn't change it for anything. I've gained a lot of knowledge over the years, man, for sure.
So, Josh, before we move on and talk about this guy, Mr. Mullet Review, who's had been in a TikTok with you, I want to ask, what is a week like as a lawyer? Are you more like a 40-hour week? Are you more like a 70-hour week? Are you just working at all times? Like, what is a typical week like for you?
It's hard. I mean, I definitely work more than 40 hours. It's not a clock in, clock out job. Definitely, and probably any lawyer, you can't really clock out that much if you're a lawyer with clients, at least, because you're
always on call
thinking about them. And even if you're not answering their calls, you are. If you care about them, you're thinking about it, even if you don't want to be. Sometimes, if you got a case coming up, it's kind of despite what people think about attorneys. You know, we get this. They think we're like money hungry vultures. Most attorneys I know got into it. Making money's nice, but most of them got into it because they like helping people, and they might not always be the best at showing it, I think, but they are thinking at home, eating dinner with their kids. They're thinking about your case and worrying about it, and they're competitive and they want to win. So it's hard to clock out, which is hard to quantify your hours. And then if you own a law firm, like you own a business, it's kind of multiplies that. So I'm worried about clients I have that I'm working on personally. I'm worried about my other attorneys, whatever, So I get up early. I don't stay up very late. So I'll probably go to bed right after this thing, but I definitely probably to the 70 end, maybe more, but it's not all direct work all the time right on my computer. I mean, I might be on my phone texting somebody about something about work or doing something. I do a lot of social media. I might be driving like yesterday and the day before I was in Atlanta. I had a case. I have a case in Georgia. There's an attorney down there helping me because I got to have an in-state lawyer to help me. So I went down there. I knew him through online, but I wanted to go meet him in person. Then we went. I took my son with me. We went to a Reds game. So I mean, I was working. I went on his podcast, but I was also having fun mixed in. So it's a lot. Dope. I probably work 70, 80 hours. If you ask my wife, I never really quit working, and that's not wrong. But I also kind of like I like what I'm doing most of the time. So it's not. I don't always feel like work, but it has its stressful points too. I mean, managing people's hard. I got a good team, but it is not everybody's going to do it like I want them to do it, but part of my growth as a manager, the way I want to do it's not always the perfect way to do it either. Like you got to learn to let other people have some leeway. Some things are right and wrong, but some things are just the way I like it, and that ain't always the only way to do it. So it's a process. They got to learn, I got to learn. But long story short, I'm probably closer to 80 than I am to 40. But I don't feel like I'm always overworked or like whining about it. I mean, I like it for the most part.
It's a labor of love at that
point.
I mean, I'm like this. There's a lot of times, where like today I worked 14 hours. There's a big part of me that's like, I don't want to do my show. I don't want to do this right now. But these guys can attest that just even if we feel like that, once we get in here and we get going, it's like, oh, I'm glad I got up and I'm glad I'm doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's how it is for me. I mean, I like it for the most part, but this week specifically, I got a lot of things going on. So I probably did overcommit the rest of this week. I got a lot of different little speaking gigs and stuff, but I'll get through it. And I'll be, Friday's going to come one way or the other. Ain't nothing too bad going to happen, I don't think. And
we just rewind back to the fact that like you turned like tuition reimbursement into a law degree. That's insane, dude.
It's kind of. I mean, I don't know if that's completely untrue. I mean, I definitely. That was one of the reasons I kept going. I worked in a factory, a couple factories here in Hamilton, one in New Miami, that an uncle on my dad's side was one of the people that started out in New Miami building the ADS. They did little plastic pipes.
I worked there.
Yeah, I used to work. My great uncle on my other side was one of the guys who started that plant. And a lot of people in my dad's family worked out there. So I worked out there for a couple years, like third shift. And then I'd go to Miami during the day. And then I got lucky. My wife got me a job working at the DMV in Hamilton. First it was Cincinnati, then I moved to Hamilton. I gave the driving test to the kids, and I worked there 6 years. It was a government job. Pretty good job. Wow. And they gave me like 80% tuition. So it was just like I had no excuse then to not keep going. As long as I think I got like a C+ or a B, they'd pay for it. So it kind of forced me to at least try enough to get a B. And then before I knew it, I was like, I was getting older and more mature. We had a kid, and I was probably like 25 or 6, where I was like, man, Josh, you got like 50 credits. Like, that's not nothing. And if you get 100 or whatever, you can graduate. You're like halfway there. And I started trying really hard then. I started getting really good grades. And then I took the law school exam, and I did good at that. And I just kind of, I kind of like snowballed, before I knew it, I was a pretty good student. But I mean, it happened over 10 years, man. So it was like baby steps. I was always kind of smart. I just didn't really try, but I didn't have study skills either. So I had to, learn how to.
That was my big thing, was finding the study habit that fit me. You know what I mean? And once I found that, school was easy.
Yeah. I had one professor in Miami kind of kick me in the butt a little bit, and just told me like that I had more in me than I was like kind of putting out there. And I knew he was kind of right. And teachers in high school told me that, but I just wasn't ready to hear it. But I don't know, at 24, 25, I was more ready to hear it. So I started putting more effort. And then by the time I went to law school, I was like pretty much 30 years old. A lot of the kids in law school were straight out of college, 22, 23. And, I was like 7, 8 years older than them. And I had a kid, and I was just treating it like a job. They were still they were all smart kids working hard too, but they were still going out and having fun, going to Mount Adams in Cincinnati or whatever after class. And I was like getting there at 6 a.m, like, working a 14. Like I got a kid, everybody, I had a lot riding on it. And I did, I don't come from a family that had lawyers in my family. A lot of the kids I went to school with did, so it was like, I just knew I didn't have anything to fall back on, but it's kind of a disadvantage in a way, but it turned into an advantage because it was like, I just ain't jacking around with this, like I quit my job to go here to the law school part. So I just went full force. I ended up getting a job like a real fancy law firm in Cincinnati, out of Cincinnati. I worked there for about 1.5 years or 2. And I defended the government and big companies and stuff. And I liked it. They paid good, but I just kind of something in my heart. I knew I wanted to start my own firm, just help normal people I grew up with. And that's what I did. 2017, I started my own, and just kind of been going ever since.
Has it been that long already? Golly.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been a lawyer. This is my 10th year being an attorney. I left the big firm 2017, worked with a buddy from law school for about 1.5 years, and then I opened the firm with Scott in Hamilton. That was about halfway through 2018. So we've been together 7 years that I've been going by the Hometown Lawyer and all that. So, just pushing.
So what is the Hometown Lawyer? I mean, is it just what it says? I mean, you're the blue collar, like, guy next door who represents to the everyday man.
I mean, if that's what it makes you feel, I mean, I guess that's true to you. I mean, I when I came up with it, I don't know. I needed to come up with something. I'm an injury attorney. You've seen all the ads. Like most of those guys, every town's got a guy that's kind of like, they usually have a nickname that's something tough, memorable, but tough. It's whether, the Tiger or a Pit Bull or the Hammer. I was in Atlanta. I saw a guy, his billboards were muscle. It was called the Strong Arm. I mean, it's always something like that, and that must work. People do that, but I just thought those were kind of cheesy, and I didn't want to do that, but I knew I needed something that you could remember. So I just came up with it one day, like the Hometown Lawyer, because I was in Hamilton. The Hometown Lawyer, I thought it was kind of maybe cheesy enough people to remember, but not something I'd be embarrassed of, Right. And I thought it would, I wanted to highlight that I was from the small town, not Cincinnati or Columbus or Cleveland. Not that anything is wrong with any of those places, but I'm from Hamilton, in this area, and I wanted people here to hire me. And then, and Scott, my partner, he's from Hamilton too. So we just kind of like, hey, that's our name, and we're going to live up to it, whatever that means. Some of those things, and kind of like those are the thoughts. I don't know if the way you said it was exactly what I was thinking, but like the guy that cares about his town, is from here.
Yeah,
for sure. The thing is, then we started opening offices in other towns, and I was like, shit, our website already says the Hometown Lawyers. I'm not, the hometown is not, I'm in Middletown now. I have an office in Middletown, but I was like, well, we'll just treat it as if we are. Like, if I got an office in Wilmington that I do, I like Wilmington. It reminds me of Hamilton. It's kind of an old town. Not everybody's rich there. rural people. I can get along with people like that. It reminds me of people I grew up with, and I'll support the Little League and whatever I got to do out there too. So like that's how we've kind of expanded it. But I think it's a guy you trust. Is hopefully what I think people think of. More
For sure. I think
sure.
I think that hometown, ensues that connotation that it is, you're again your guy next door, not necessarily one particular hometown, but your hometown guy, and it's like, again, it just has a feeling of I don't know, it invokes trust. It's brilliant, almost as brilliant as Blake Maislin, dude. I went to a concert and Blake Maislin must have been a sponsor or something. They brought this dude out on the stage, and there was 15,000 people singing that damn theme song.
Yeah, the number.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, the four.
You think when they pitched that to him, he was like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, I say, I'm not going to hate on Blake, but every big city has a guy with the fours, though. So he didn't invent that.
Okay.
You go to Philadelphia, there'll be a guy with a 444. It might not be the same song, but like in Atlanta, there'll be
He's the balls out guy that takes sixes.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Usually 7s, 2s, and 4s you'll see more.
I saw 8 in New York City.
Yeah.
8,
Down in Atlanta, there was some that had 9 and then all zeros. Those phone numbers are really expensive.
I bet.
So the numbers are good, especially if we're going to do a ton of billboards. I don't have a vanity number. I have a pretty good number. I got one that's 894 and then all 3s, and then I have one that's 433 and then all 3s. I mean, it's decent.
Those are good.
But it's not my, I don't brand the number so much, but it's more kind of community involvement. Like, a lot of local, I do a lot of videos highlighting other people's businesses, stuff like that. But there's always, I've never been able to come up with a good jingle for the Hometown Lawyer, but I think it kind of goes against my brand a little bit. It's just like, I don't want to, does the guy next door have a song? Maybe not. I think, and I've hired, a lot of my paralegals come from bigger firms like that. And when they usually within about a month, they're like, man, Josh, your clients are a little bit better than the place I've come from. And I'm not saying him specifically, any of those big ones. Like, I think I get people who think a little bit more before they hire, not just the guy with the funny song. I think they look around like, oh, Josh and Scott actually live here, and I want to hire someone in local instead of Columbus or something. Not that those guys are bad lawyers. I mean, a lot of them aren't. I know a lot of guys that are good, run a good business and treat people okay. But I do think, when you live somewhere, there's like a heightened sense of, I need to treat people here well because I live here. They're going to see me around, and I want people to know I do a good job, but best I can. It doesn't always work out as much as, that's one problem of being a lawyer. You don't always win or win as much as you want, or win as much as you even should. Sometimes you get screwed, or people do the wrong thing, so it's a hard
weatherman
thing.
gets it wrong all the time, and they're not crucifying him.
Yeah. It's tough though, but I mean, I think for the most part, we keep people happy, that people know you care about them. But that's kind of the impetus of why I went with that. And just seemed like no one was doing it. And the URL was available, the Hometown Lawyer. So I snagged that back in, it's like 2018. I've had that. And then I took all the social medias.
It's authentic, man. And we're a dad podcast, but we're obviously obsessed with pro wrestling, hence all the wrestling stuff. But
yeah.
I think, when they talk about the most successful wrestling characters, it's themselves turned up to 11. And I think that's the authenticity that you get. Yeah. I might be a little biased because you're my cousin and I want to see you succeed. But when I look at your videos, I'm like, man, he's got it down. He is turning himself up to 11, being himself, and putting a little extra flair to it in a way. And
I don't even know if I turn myself up too much, but yeah, when me and my wife are bantering, we talk a little more smack than we would if the camera was off, for sure. But like, it's really how we are, and I think that's important. And I'm kind of relaxed. I don't like dressing nice. I don't speak, perfect flowery lawyer language all the time. I'm not super precise as some attorneys are. But if one of my friends is an attorney wants to do videos and they are that way, I wouldn't tell them try to be more relaxed and say funny shit like I do, because that ain't you. Like, if you're stiff, be stiff. That's fine. People will like you how you are, or the right people will. So just don't. You can't fake it. If I suit up and stand in front of books all day long and try to sound like, uber smart, it just, I don't know. I don't feel good about it, and I won't do it very often. That's one of the things. Social media, you got to be consistent. Every day you got to do something. So you got to pick something you don't mind doing, or you're not going to do it.
I really like your Ask a Lawyer stuff. I think that's my favorite. They're quick clips. I love them. I like, just like the magistrate one. I didn't know what a magistrate was versus
Just basic stuff.
Basic stuff, but that's the stuff that I want in TikTok. I want educational stuff. I want stuff that it can be funny and silly, but if I'm learning something small like that, all day.
I'm glad someone likes it. I had people, the first person ever hired me off TikTok, they called in, they said they hired me because I talked about the taco place down here on Sycamore. They I was like nothing to do with talking about being a lawyer. Just, I gave them a good taco hint, so I gained their trust. It's better than nothing.
So speaking of eating food, man, we got to talk about Mullet Review, Mr. Elliott. That guy is former guest of the show. We've had a lot of fun bull crapping with that guy. How'd you end up with him? It's just social media? Is that how you ended up running around with him? Or
I hire some community outreach people that work for me that help me meet people. Most of the time they're helping me meet other attorneys in towns outside of Hamilton, I don't know, or insurance people, doctors, whatever it may be. But one of the things I tell them to do is, hey, look out for like local influencers too, like somebody who's out here doing good stuff. And it was last summer, it was kind of right when he got going. It was last June. They turned me on, like this guy, he had a couple pretty big videos then, but he is really just getting going. I think he had like 8,000 followers and he didn't even really quite know, what was happening quite yet, I don't think. And I asked him to be on my podcast and he said, sure. And we met down here in Fairfield, in that lot close to, where's that, All About Sports. There's like there's a little restaurant there. It used to be Red Squirrel, I think, but down there on Route 4. And he just met me in a parking lot one Sunday morning. We shot with my camera guy. We shot a little podcast just standing in this like crappy little parking lot. He didn't know who I was. And we met and did it. And then so we knew each other pretty much when he was first getting going. I did that video with him. And then obviously I watched him. He just kept on taking off. So then, we've,
crazy,
messaged back and forth, this whole time. And then last month we've been talking about doing something together and we kind of finally came up with something. I tossed him on a billboard. So I tossed him on a billboard and he went and got a headshot like he was like with a suit and everything. So he's down here I got him on a few of them, but he's down here on Pleasant for sure. And
3 blocks from my house. I see it every morning.
Yeah. So he did that for me and I haven't announced it yet, but like the reason I did that, like one, I thought it'd be funny. It was funny and people liked it, but I like Brandon's a good dude. He's like, I tried to like hire him to give him money for that. He just did it for fun because he knew it'd be funny. And he's just a good dude. He's in it for the right things. He's having fun. And I'm going to, because I got a bunch of billboards. I bought them all basically so Blake and guys in Cincinnati and big cities couldn't buy them. I don't want to look at their stupid billboards in my town. I'll look at my stupid billboards in my town at least. Kind of park my territory a little bit. So, but I was trying to always think of a way I could. Most of my marketing is community involvement. The billboards, I really could never figure out what quite to do with them because they're just kind of out there. They're not in the social media. But what I wanted to do is start a borrow my billboard program for like local community like events and nonprofits, people who maybe can't afford one. And so I put him up there and that got some publicity. And then when we take him down, I'm going to announce like I'm going to start lending those out to people, like not people with a good cause. Yeah. He did one to get a lot of publicity. So like Big Brothers, Big Sisters, I've already got them. They're going to go up in June and it'll be their billboard, but in the corner, it'll say like sponsored by the Hometown Lawyer. So then we'll do some social media for them. So it's kind of a way like to be more interactive with them and be creative, and just kind of thought of that up. And he let me use him, to get us both a little publicity and have some fun. But
Josh, what I'm hearing is we need to be on your podcast and then we're going to go.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not taking credit for that. I don't even know that we got a ton of views on that one, but I met him early on. So he knew I was supporting him and a fan early on, I would say. Now he did all that on his own. He's just got a good personality. He's just funny, and he's really taken off. I mean, he was already taken off then, but we just kind of met him, last June. It was been almost a year ago. We did that podcast with him and he just kind of kept on going.
I think the key is that he's authentic, and like the fact that you're talking about, he turned down the money for it. It's kind of the same thing. So that's why we had him on. We try to have like-minded people in that respect. We've had many opportunities to do different things, but I think with us, we're just in for the experience. Like, I don't know how much you know about pro wrestling, but the last 2 professional appearances of Kevin Sullivan before he passed away was on our show. You know what I mean? Like, we've had wrestlers galore. We've had CEOs of company and just all kinds of different stuff. People sending us swag and free stuff. all that's fun and all, but I think the most we're looking for is this conversation right here, just to say that, you know, we've had these cool moments with these cool people and get to celebrate it a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just,
definitely fun.
dude, it's just getting to hear different people's perspective on so many different, you know, issues and topics, because our conversations go in so many different places, man. I mean, it's almost therapeutic for me, just because it really expands my mind to hear other people's, you know, views on life.
No, yeah, it's I mean, it's just the more people you meet. I mean, that's why I've always liked networking in general, person to person. I was kind of good at that, and I kind of, just because I like people, and if you like something, you're going to be better at it. Typically, got a good attitude about it. And it took me a while to kind of put the pieces together, but doing stuff on social media is just that, an extension of networking with people. You can meet real people. It's not just fake, you know, virtual friendships or whatever. Like I meet people online, then I meet them in person, and I like them in person too. And, you know, it's really helped me build a bigger following and just a more well-rounded network of people. And I'm trying to lean in more to it, but honestly, I'm trying to do more of that, reach out to people that have a little platform, and, you know, support them when I can. You know, hopefully they can support me here and there too. And it's just fun, you know. People, if I see someone out there really hustling, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter what it is. If they're out there trying to do their best at something good, like, it's like a kindred spirit to me. You know, I'm a lawyer. I know people that are doing something totally different, but like, there's a lot more similarities. And if they're running a business or a podcast or anything like that, there's a lot more similarities than there are differences.
Sure.
You know,
Dude, when you spoke of like just kind of leading positivity first, man, that is like literally our credo. Like, especially in the professional wrestling community, man, there is a lot of negativity, and it's easy to steer into that. And we've always just kind of held our ground as being a positivity first. You know what I mean? It just feels better.
yeah, it's just easier for you. I mean, honestly, just in life, like that's just my way of living. Like, even if people do something bad to me that's objectively bad, like, I don't go around thinking about it and carrying it with me for weeks and weeks. Not necessarily because I want to be so nice and let them off the hook. It's selfishly, it's worse for me if I do. Like, it just feels bad on me. Like, so it's not always necessary that people always deserve you to forget whatever they've done to you. I think it's just better for you to stop thinking about it. I mean, it just drags you down, and it ain't worth it. And there's a lot of good people in the world too. There just are. There's a lot of good people in Hamilton. There's a lot of good people in every town I go to. There's some negative people that are going to complain about whatever. You know, I can ignore them. You know, find the good people, and I do find a lot of good people, man.
I'm a big proponent of, like, you know, you get back what you put out too. You know what I mean? And it's not 100% of the time, but, you know, I feel like if you're putting that energy out there, the likelihood of it coming back towards you is got to be increased.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, you know, if you're looking for good stuff, you'll find it. If you're looking for bad stuff, I'm sure you'll find that too.
Oh yeah, I always say, if you're looking for trouble, you'll eventually find it.
Yeah, it doesn't take too long, I don't think, depending on where you're at. But yeah, I'm looking forward to
I heard Hamilton, apparently.
I mean, yeah, there's some places you can find some trouble here, I'm sure.
Hey, well, they used to sing both. I always heard it was Hamiltucky, so I feel like we're all kind of kindred spirits.
Yeah, it ain't. Are you down in Kentucky?
Yes.
Yeah,
Eric and I both in Kentucky.
I mean, that's where all of our family's from. I mean, both my sides of families all from Kentucky. Everyone just moved up here in the 50s and 60s, basically, to work in factories.
Yep.
Speaking of Hamiltucky, my uncle here is asking if you're drinking out of a mason jar.
Yeah, of course, man. I mean,
damn right.
Oh yeah.
Man. This is just
Kool-Aid.
You know,
yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. We talked
Tom
about
Kombucha, actually, real bougie.
our grandpas being wild right before my grandfather passed away. It was the summer before that. I called him one day, and it was loud. The wind was blowing. I was like, Papa, what are you doing? He's like, I'm driving around drinking moonshine. I was like, Papa, I was like, you think you should be driving? He's like, I've been doing this for 40 years.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. I was like, well, call me when you get home. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so you're a lawyer, and obviously you have a lawyer desk. Do you keep a bottle in your lawyer desk?
Nah, I don't. We do have a bottle at the office. I think we have a couple bottles. Actually,
Scotch.
I think there's a bottle of scotch and maybe a couple bottles of bourbon. But I don't drink. I really don't drink much, man. I just don't. It's never been really too much my thing. I will drink a bourbon here and there.
I thought that was like a prerequisite to opening a law firm. Like you had to have a bottle of scotch.
There's a lot of substance abuse amongst lawyers, honestly. I mean, it's high alcoholism rate, high, drug use rate compared to other jobs. Even though,
I mean, if Hollywood portrays it anywhere close, man, it's just, I mean, it's a high stress job, man.
I think
long
there is
hours and all that stuff, man.
It's bad. And I think a lot, and most people that are attorneys are pretty hard type A competitive people. So and they're kind of proud. So they don't want to like go admitting, that they got a problem to their other buddy, because they're just going to like eat it. They're kind of attorneys. They wear suits, and, I don't know, all of them are physically tough, but, I've been an attorney 10 years, and I've worked in factories with some tough guys, and, my grandpa was tough and Lowell was tough, and I know tough people. Most attorneys I know, at least mentally, are pretty tough. Like, they're pretty like hard and callous people, at least emotionally.
They might have to be.
And it kind of can wear on you just because you're eating, everyone that calls is having a problem, especially like divorce, stuff like just every day it eats on you. It's a hard profession from that. But and the other thing is, they don't really teach you how to run a law firm. They don't teach you how to run a business in law school. They teach you how to be a lawyer. Then you're out in the real world. You got to learn how to do all sorts of other stuff on your own, and because it doesn't run its own, and you got to actually do all this other stuff.
Shit, I got to go to business school.
Yeah, so you got to do both. So I've leaned into the running the business more. I've hired a lot of people to help get a lot of the cases done. So so I'm not just overburdened and ready to, jump off the bridge, because a lot of people actually do that, no pun intended. I mean, I want to, I don't mind to work hard, be a little stressed, part of it, but I don't want to be overwhelmed where I can't keep up. It just doesn't do your clients any good. Don't do your family any good.
God, no.
But a lot of people do that. They just too stubborn to know when they need help, and and it's not just lawyers like that, but they're definitely pretty bad at that.
I've been a victim of that, man. Bringing home the stank of work and not even realizing you're bringing it home with you until your family brings it to you. Like, why are you so angry?
Yeah, it's no good. But you kind of got to check yourself, or have people around you to let you know when you're being like that, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, give me just a second here to indulge my sister, because she is in the comments torching me, saying that I stink, telling me to stop biting my nails, saying my forehead's shiny. Listen here, young lady, you're still my little sister. I'll come beat you up. You're like 5 blocks away. Okay. You're the one woman I'm allowed to beat up, and I will still beat you up. I'm just saying.
Tickle fight. Wet willies and tickle fight. This is actually
not EH.
Kirkland.
Costco.
Yeah.
Pretty
Dude,
good.
I'll tell you what, Kirkland makes a good bottle.
This is actually they sourced it through Barton 1792, so it's 1792 ish whiskey. It's bottled in bond, so it's all like very regulatory.
Costco's got pretty good stuff in general.
Yeah, and I'm a cheapskate, so you get like a big ass bottle for like $25. So
yeah,
but it's good every time. I literally just had some of that Kirkland over the weekend. My sister got married, and we had it while we were all getting ready. So pretty cool.
Shit.
By the way, you cleaned up pretty nice there, buddy.
Yeah, no doubt.
Fairly all right.
Fairly dapper for a redneck.
How long y'all been doing this podcast?
Almost 3 years, man.
Almost 3 years, yeah.
How many episodes?
We're at almost at 200 as us, but 300 as a total show. They did a show for like 70 episodes without me, and then I came on as a guest, and I helped fill in for a couple of episodes.
Then he never fucking left.
you fucking want it.
Herpes.
Nah, man, it just worked out. We became our trio, and we became the Wolf Pack. And since then, in fact, we need to check our tally soon. I think we'll be hitting our 200 together, 300 as a full show here soon.
Yeah.
We try to stay as consistent as possible, but we're also very big proponents on mental health. May 15th of this month will be our last show for the rest of May, and then we're taking the rest of May off, and we won't be back till June. We do that twice a year and give ourselves a mental reset. You know what I mean? Give some chance to get some new guests on the docket too, because we try to book. We booked you in May when it was, I think, end of March. You know what I mean? So we try to stay a little stretched out in the future.
Yeah.
So
it's good for mental health, but it's also good for creativity to take a break from work in general. That's usually when the best idea will pop to you, when you're not thinking about anything, and you got to take a break to do that. It's hard when you're always busy. So I got,
Plus, again, we love wrestling, and everybody loves a comeback. So, we use that. We take a break. We're away for a while. Everybody forgets about us, and then boom, we're back.
Yeah.
It really.
Good.
I was just gonna say it really is an unbelievable reset. Like it's not that long when you think about it, like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But man, we take those 2 weeks off, and when we come back, it's like, oh, hey guys, like I haven't, like we'll talk the entire time, but until we get back on, it feels like we've been away forever. But really, we've only not done 4 shows.
Yeah. Which we're taking next Tuesday off too, because we're going to a baseball game, taking my stupid little sister out to a Reds game. But it is what it is.
I went to a Reds game last night in Atlanta. It was a bad one. The guy flew into the wall and broke his arm.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Dude.
I was at that game, and then we only had one hit. It was not the best game to go to.
Right.
We broke an arm and got one hit. It wasn't good. It was nasty. He broke it bad too. It's always
Reds, man.
I can't believe they kept going with the game, man.
Yeah, so
Like,
even the people sitting next to
the umpire, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah, but I watched wrestling a lot, obviously, when I was a kid. I don't know if I've been a long time, but who's big? Who's the big guy now?
John Cena is the World
Cena.
Wrestling. So yeah, it's literally like what it was when you left it.
No,
John Cena and The Rock are back.
Cody
I think Stone Cold was in it when I probably stopped watching it. I mean, way back 2000, probably.
I forget that you're older than me, man, because you just look so damn young. I
feel whatever. Yeah, I'm not too young. I'm not too old, but 40. I'll be 42 next month. I don't know how old you are.
I turned 38 this year, so you're a bit older than me, but
yes, I graduated high school 2001. So whoever, I wasn't watching it after that for sure. Probably junior high.
Sloan? How far are you apart from Sloan?
He's 3 years younger than me, and then Jake is 7.
Okay.
Bro, I joined a fraternity in college because they watch wrestling together. Like legit. Got together on a Monday night. I was like, yeah, I'm in.
I went and did a little video at the local wrestling down there in Fairfield probably 2 months ago for my I have a podcast like that I interview people. Then I have one where it's just like a minute and a half long. I do like a little free commercial shout out for people. And that was pretty cool.
Our friends at NWF.
Yeah, it was fun. I had fun. Me and my son watched it. Tim, I went to high school with Tim and Jesse. So I've known them since we were 15.
Bad dudes.
Yeah, they've been going at it forever, man. They've been wrestling since we was kids, and they're still doing it. It's kind of awesome.
Jesse's not been on the show, but Tim has. We need to get Jesse on here for sure.
Yeah, he's probably a good interview. He's a good talker.
And we wouldn't even need to talk about wrestling with him. He's just fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny.
I like. I'm sure you know Withers too. Then, if you know all them, you know Josh Withers. I'd imagine.
If I saw him, I probably would. But I knew Tim the best. I mean, but I knew both him and Jesse. I think they were both 1 year ahead of me in high school. But they've been wrestling forever, and I never went and watched them. We went and did the video, and then my son, we went over and watched it. It was a pretty cool little show.
You have to come out to a Revolver show one day, man. I would invite you to the one on the 18th in Dayton, but I will be at my daughter's graduation in Chicago, so I won't be there for that one. But maybe May 31st or something. If you ain't busy, we'll
shoot me some dates and run it by the wife, see if where she wants to go. But she wants to go see. She wants to go see one of the ones over here because we talked it up. It was pretty fun. I think she'd like it.
My wife is not a wrestling fan at all, and she loves going to these wrestling. It's just, it's one of those things, man. It's like you ever go to see a band that you never heard of, and they just put on just like a kick-ass performance, and you're like, so that is what this is.
Revolver is the AAA for, if you were to equate it to AAA to major leagues. Revolver is like a AAA for WWE in a way. You're going to see, if you go see a Revolver show, I guarantee you within 2 years, you're going to be seeing some of the people on WWE. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
Well, I got to ask you, man, before we get out of here, we are nearing our hour, but we do have one question that we like to ask everybody. And especially since you are a dad, we have to ask this question. And the magnificent one up there is the one that always asks the question.
As Big Rig said, us being dads, we are very budget-minded individuals, and you being a business owner, I expect, even more so. So the question we're dying to know is, what do you keep your thermostat set to?
Oh man, I have no idea. I don't. I got we got this old house. I lost. I don't know.
Well,
I got
there
a
are
boiler, man.
Damn
A
it,
radiator.
answers. 68, 60. There's 4 acceptable answers. 68, 69, and 70, or whatever she sets it to.
Yeah, it's what she sets it to. I mean, I have never touched
Okay.
that.
We'll take.
My house is old and it's always cold in here. I got old drafty windows. It's built in 1880s, so it's never going to be as warm as it should
There
be.
you go.
So follow up to that, more of a poignant question. Besides your career, man, what's something you're thankful for right now?
I mean, just my daughter's been real healthy lately. You know, when we had her, they said she might not walk, might not talk, and she just never shuts up. And we have to remind ourselves she's fine. She's funny as hell. Still got lots of issues, but she's just been on a real good streak lately. So thankful for that. My son's graduating high school this month, so I keep waiting for him to do something stupid. He just really hasn't. I don't know. Like, he's just pretty
He seems so straight.
nice kid. Yeah, he is, man. So thankful for those, and family in general, and just thankful for life's better than I thought. If I'd have looked back 20 years, I wouldn't have thought I'd be where I am today. And hopefully, 20 years in the future, I can say the same thing. It's, the goal. Keep improving and have fun along the way.
Absolutely.
Smell the flowers. What do they say? Don't work too hard, but I'm not always the best at that.
Well, my brother, I can tell you from everyone that I talk to in the family, everybody's so proud of you, man. It's really cool to drive through our hometown and see our cousin up on the billboards.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. You know what I mean? Anytime I'm with somebody who doesn't know, I'm like, oh, that's my cousin right there. You know what I'm saying? That's my cousin.
If you think of anything good for me to put up there, I always need a good slogan or something. They make me change it 3 or 4 months, so I got to think of something new all the time. So.
On a real tip, we definitely have to get your guys' info, because we might need to rent a few out ourselves, man. We've been talking about. I've almost rented the smaller ones out in New Miami. I'm sure you've probably seen them.
Yeah.
Rent this for 6 months for $100 a month. I've almost done that several times. Because we just want to, wrestling is cool and it's our niche, but we're really trying to expand with our guests. Hence why we have people like you on. We don't want to be just a wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
We want to be an interview podcast that's obsessed with wrestling.
We want to be the Jerry Springer of internet of wrestling podcast.
No, we do not. That's crazy. I don't want Jerry Springer on here. Well, I don't know.
You have to conjure him up. 1, 2.
Yeah.
I just mean like I like Kevin, just the interesting people, man. It's like, we've talked about these, far out ideas of flat earthers and UFOs and Sasquatch and stuff like that. I'm dying to have these people on. I want to hear interesting stories and unique views on things. And if you got a good story to tell, or somebody's got a good story to tell, man, send them our way.
Yeah,
we're dying to have conversations.
Keep thinking. Well, I got a connection with Jerry Springer at the big law firm I started at. That's where he started at. He was a lawyer. We worked at the same firm. He did it in the 70s. I did it.
That's cool.
Can you believe in the documentary they didn't bring up at all that he wrote a check for a hooker?
Yeah.
I was so disappointed in that. Like, that's gangster as fuck, dude. Like, they put in the memo section that ass. You know what I mean?
That
like,
ass.
Hey man, Cincinnati's not
Gary.
shy to have a what do you call it? A tattered star, if you will. Look at
No, yeah.
Look at
No,
We got a few. We got a
I could
few
be
of them.
wrong. Doesn't matter.
I'll tell you what, I'm mad at Cincinnati. I know it's completely side note as hell and it has nothing to do with the episode, but I'm mad at Cincinnati Bengals right now. Not for any draft picks or anything like that, but because for the 3rd year in a row or 4th year in a row, we're still on the waiting list. Me and my brother have tried to get season tickets for 4 years now.
Right, you know what that means,
Really?
though? That means it's a better chance that we get to watch games together.
Yes, but I would rather watch them in person.
I'd not pass. It's a hard pass for me. I'd rather watch it on TV.
Listen, I didn't get a cheese coney tattooed on me because I kind of like Cincinnati. I got a cheese coney tattooed on me because I love Cincinnati, and I love wieners.
No, I was gonna say that's
I got to show it off now for anyone who's never seen it.
Nice.
Cheese coney.
wiener.
All right. Now that we've gotten a little,
Dedicated to the cause.
Josh, I'm so glad you came on with us, man. It's
Nah,
been
thanks for asking me.
At some point, I want to treat your family to a nice dinner. I want to figure out a date, and take you and your kids out, go grab a steak or something somewhere in our hometown, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter's a fan of Jolly's right up the road. That's her favorite. So she'll
Jolly's is-
definitely do that.
Jolly's is my wife's favorite. It's not
That's
my
easy.
cup of tea, but I'll definitely, that'd be a great dinner right there. So
Yeah, it's close. All right, fellas. I appreciate you having me on, and
Yeah.
if you ever need
Absolute
anything, let me
pleasure,
know.
Josh.
Hopefully you don't.
Pleasure
absolutely.
meeting you and getting to know you, brother.
you guys
Yeah.
anything you want to promote before we wrap this up?
Nah, just hopefully I don't want anyone to need me, but if you do, you know how to get a hold of me, and if you ever need a lawyer, I'm an injury lawyer, but if you need some other sort of lawyer, you don't know who to call, you can always call my office. We'll tell you kind of who we would call for all sorts of situation. I don't mind doing that all year, not wasting my time. I have people I got 2 people answering the phone all the time, and they have a list of people kind of I approve of, so if you don't want to just guess and have, I can't guarantee the outcome, obviously, but I know a lot of attorneys, and I'll point you in the right direction. I think sometimes that is helpful as much as helpful.
Yeah, that's extremely helpful because you don't really realize that like lawyers aren't just one size fits all. There's a lot of specialties out there for sure.
Yeah, and then people don't know that a lot of times. They think I can just do any case. You don't want a lawyer that tries to do 5-6 different things. Just like you wouldn't want to go to a dentist that does heart surgery and brain.
Right? Yeah. No,
You got to get someone that does
2
something.
very different vocations for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Look at me, they both surgery. I got it. I can do
So
this.
I partied with a lawyer one night, and he comes to me and he's like, "Give me $1." What you want $1 for? He's like, "Give me $1." So I give him $1. He's like, "Now you have me on retainer. I can legally not tell anybody about anything you tell me tonight." Boom! That was a smooth move, man, and
Lawyer.
a quick way to make a couple bucks. I'm just saying, Josh, put that one in your pocket, buddy.
He's gonna have tons of people on
Keep that in my back pocket.
How many
That's
people are
also-
here? I'm gonna make $45 tonight.
It's also a bit off of Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
He does
Is that what
to
it's
him.
from?
Yeah.
I think you got it.
Okay.
He's
Yeah,
like,
either
just give
way.
me $20. Just do it. All right, you got me on retainer. Well, Josh, thank you so much for coming on, dude. This has been an absolute blast. As always, we have been the DWO podcast. I am Big Rig Eric Maffey. He is Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. He is the wrestling t-shirt guy, Bo Cephas, and he is the hometown lawyer, Josh Hodges. You can check us out on all the socials at DW_podcast, Facebook at the DWO podcast, TikTok at DW_pod. Get that dad merch at Pro Wrestling Tees, TeePublic, or message us directly. Like, subscribe, listen, follow, all that good stuff. And until next time, top dads. Out.